My name is Piotr Mirowski, and I would like to talk to you in my name and also in the name of my friend Kory Mathewson about human machine, that's the name of our company, and artificial intelligence improvisation. So improvising theater with robots. And one thing I have to tell you right now is that you don't need to worry. I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm not asking for funding. In the worst case scenario, I'm going to advertise for a show whose entry price is £5 to £10, which is 1,000,000 times less than the typical amount of money people request here. And those kind of shows are in comedy pubs or theaters across London, Brighton, and even Edmonton this summer. So, human machine, Piotr Mirowski. What can I say about me? And that will actually inform the reason why I'm doing all that. So I am a research scientist in artificial intelligence, and I have been doing that for many, many years. I actually did my PhD in computer science at NYU in the lab of a certain Yann LeCun. That's before he was famous for making all those convolutional networks that you use for detecting selfies, for faces on selfie pictures. And that also shows how old I am. And during my PhD thesis, I looked at things such as modeling sequences, time series prediction, for gene regulation networks, epileptic seizure prediction, and also natural language processing, that a bit later. And more recently, I've been working with robots. And at the same time, I've had a passion for theater and improv. So that's us, Cherub Improv. We are doing improv comedy in nursing homes and hospitals, trying to cheer up patients with poorly improvised jokes. And I've also been doing theater, drama, part-time studying drama at the London School of Dramatic Arts and actually creating another kind of company, a theater company. So that's about me. But I think at this point, I need to ask you, how many of you know what improv comedy is, or improvised theater? You can raise your hands. Yes, 2, 3, 5. Okay, so improvised comedy, improvised theater is basically like scripted theater without script. So you go along with the inspiration given by the audience, by your scene partners, by whatever has happened yesterday, and you just make up things on the spot, taking the energy from the others and from the audience. And if you are curious about improvised theater in general, London is a beautiful place for that. So some of our friends are the showstoppers who improvise every so often in the West End and the Lyric Theatre, a full-fledged musical for 2 hours, which is about as high in quality as what you would pay for 2 or 3 times as much with a scripted story. Or the Maydays at the Nursery Theatre, who improvise Tim Burton-like musicals. Or Colin Mockery, you probably have heard of Whose Line Is It Anyway? So these are our friends and inspirations with whom we have hanged out and who motivated us in the way to build what we're going to show now, what I'm going to show in the name of Kory as well. So what improv is about? It is about doing the most obvious thing. And that sounds very counterintuitive. And one of the experts in theater and in improv is Keith Johnstone, a British person, who actually had to flee, had to go into exile from the United Kingdom because he couldn't do improv. Why? Because the censorship required him to submit the script in advance. And he said, well, it's going to be improvised. I have no idea what I'm going to do. So he went to Canada, and that's why improv comedy spread from Canada to the rest of the world. And he had this beautiful saying, I began to think of children not as immature adults, but of adults as atrophied children. And Joe Bernard, another improviser, says that, know that you knew how to do this when you were 6 years old, other stuff just got in the way. So essentially, we are all capable of being spontaneous and using our ideas. And companies typically pay thousands of pounds per day to invite people to actually get us a little bit of preconceptions and our borders and limits to actually make us think properly, like kids do. So now you can think, why am I talking about all that? Improv and AI. For me, the most obvious thing was to combine the two. I mean, I know basically how to do two things. I know how to program neural networks, and I know how to make a fool of myself on the stage. Great. That's it. The most obvious thing. So in 2016, that's when I started having my shows as Albert. So I just took the stereotype of a nerd, and I just cranked it up a little bit. I added glasses and 1980s or 1970s, like Bell Labs researcher. I actually worked at Bell Labs, but way after that. I added, of course, an avatar whose name is Alex. It's a gender-neutral name, and it can be male or female or in between, and it means, as an acronym, Artificial Language Experiment. So, Alex is a neural network, and I'm going to go into details of how exactly it works. But I've been doing those shows for almost 2 years now, and this is, for instance, me improvising at the British Academy at a performance on love, sex, at an evening on love, sex, marriage with a robot last year. So I've been doing improv with other human beings before I started doing improv with a machine, but little did I know that when I set up on this journey to build an artificial improviser as an artificial stage partner, that I will actually make an encounter. And that's a great proof that internet is more than just for porn and bullying. There was a musical, Avenue Q, with a song, Internet is for Porn. It's a highly recommended musical. So, basically, internet is actually a place where you can meet people and start collaborations. So Kory Mathewson is a PhD student in reinforcement learning at the University of Alberta, advised by Rich Sutton. And he just thinks like me. It's incredible. He has been doing improv for a while, and he also, so before I go into that, he's very good at improv. One thing he does very well is improvised TED Talks. So what that means, somebody prepares his slides in advance. He has no idea what's on the slides. Then he walks to the audience and asks, so what am I going to talk to you today? He gives a suggestion, and then he begins a beautiful, inspiring TED Talk, which is indistinguishable from the real thing, which proves either that TED Talks are bullshit or that he's very good, or both. So he has been doing that, and he also decided to combine his passion with robotics, his passion for improv with passion for robotics. And his motivation was the following. He thinks that a good improviser should be able to improvise with anybody. He has been inviting random people from the audience who have never done improv, taking them on the stage, and then trying to make them look good, make them shine. Just think about it. It's incredible. I mean, we're in a competitive environment. It's all about me. Look at me, I have this great startup idea. Here, you come with a friend, and all that you're doing is to make that friend look good. Incredible. So that is one of the reasons why improv is so good. Because unlike Hollywood, and unlike most of our corporate work, it is all about sharing and making the other shine. And so he thought, I'm going to take a machine and make it shine on the stage. And so that's how it started on his side. So here I see that I'm running out of time, but I have twice the time, right? So I still have 10 minutes more. Good. So now it says 0. That's why I'm asking that question. OK, perfect. No, I have a watch. So Kory blogged about it. And as I said, internet is also a great way of meeting people. I read his blog. I wrote a long email to him. He read between the lines, and we started collaborating right away. He actually jumped on a plane to London. Well, OK, he was bound to go to London anyway. We met in London. We started collaborating. We keep meeting at computer science conferences and AI conferences. And we've been doing, when we are not co-located, we've been doing improv comedy shows remotely. And so we call it long-distance relationship. And the idea is basically just to go to a comedy pub and do an improv show via Skype or Hangouts. And to make things daring, last year we made our first Transatlantic artificial intelligence improvised comedy show. And thanks to that, we even got coverage in the Sunday Times, who talked about it as artificial irreverence. So, and I'm going to tell more about the show later. Well, actually, no, I'm going to tell right now that we did 2 nights. The first one was a disaster. The robot fell on the stage and literally crushed and burned. I saw smoke coming out of the motor, and I was improvising. And there were all those people who had come to see us, in addition, in London at the Tristan Bates Theatre, in addition to people in Portland, Oregon, 8 hours of time difference, who were also watching at 10 a.m. the show, and also watching us with the show burning literally in front of us. And we just continued. The show must go on. And then there were lots of other things. Yes, we had made a mistake in booking the theaters. So half an hour into the show, Kory had to escape because there was a wedding rehearsal planned in the theater. It's because there was a time, you know, when they changed time zone in March, there is an overlap. It's a kind of weird thing. Think about it when you plan your next meeting. So this is an AI conference, so I need to say something about AI. So I'm going to talk about ALEX, Artificial Language Experiment. So at the center of it is an AI, so represented with a brain, because it's a well-known thing that there is a little brain in every single AI. And the usual joke, of course, is that investors call it AI, researchers call it machine learning, and in practice it's statistics and linear algebra, and some nonlinearities. Anyway, so a recurrent neural network at the core, which is trained to generate word-by-word sentences. And then there's a dialogue system on top, speech recognition, text-to-speech, a user interface, connects to a server, some remote controls, like this thing, and Alex, the robot, the physical avatar. We trained it on a data set of 100,000 films, ranging from 1902 up to now. Of course, some of those films don't have a lot of words, like silent movies, for instance. They still have the captions, you know, like in black and white silent movies. And it's almost 1 billion words. Of course, at the core of the system is a statistical language model. We have to thank Claude Shannon for getting the inspiration. So I presume you all know statistical language models, which are behind our machine translation and speech recognition systems, and Google Translate and others. What you may not know is that Claude Shannon and Keith Johnstone even had an exchange. So Keith Johnstone, the improviser, had an exchange, and Claude Shannon, I think, shared with him some early statistical language model, which was probably a trigram, and that's the example of sentence generated by that trigram in the 50s or 40s. The head and frontal attack of an English writer that the character of this point is therefore another method of the letters that the time of whoever told the problem, whatever. It's just bullshit. It doesn't mean anything. In our case, we use a recurrent neural network that has a long-range time dependency, and so it's able to generate relatively good sentences and even remember the context of past sentences. In addition to that, we condition this with a topic model, the kind of things that are typically used for classifying documents, whether they contain financial data or not. Failures are inevitable, but as Thomas Watson, the founder of IBM, has said, if you want to achieve success, double your failure rate. So we've been following his advice. So at this point, I can say, well, we have been doing lots of Fringe Festivals shows, and we even created a company where instead of robots, we use humans that get the lines via headphones, and they have to justify those lines and say them as they were given by a prompter, and we call it Improbotics. I have to say that the most important thing that I've learned in all that experience is that we use theater to share a human experience. And so this essentially is just a tool for us to have fun and to explore theater. And actually, we've been sharing it with theater writers and actors to guide some of the creative process. I'm not going to advertise for the play I'm performing later. Thank you. So that's a thank you just for this bit. And now let's do the demo. And before we do the demo, I would like you all to take a deep breath. Take a deep breath and lower your expectations. Thank you. So, I need you to give me a suggestion. So I'm just going to warm you up very quickly. On the count of 3, can you all shout your first name? 1, 2, 3. Piotr? Thank you. On the count of 3, can you all shout your favorite food? 1, 2, 3. Sushi. That's great for computer scientists. And finally, something you would say to a loved person? 1, 2, 3. Thank you. That's a great date idea. OK, so I have to rush. I've been doing everything to delay the demo. Where would you not take your date to? A place that you would not take, a non-geographical place where you would not take a date to. A machine learning conference. That's a great suggestion. Let's hope it all works. As I said, let's hope it all works. You are going to enjoy it. There are lots of people who are passionate around here. Those people share the same ideas as me. You wanted to discover me and to get to know me better, right?
Do not say that. It will not happen again.
Oh, you're going to... No, come on. Come on, it's our first date. It's our first date and you're already saying no. Alex, give me one more chance.
Why would you act in such a manner?
Because I'm nervous. I'm nervous when I'm taking you out. I was nervous when I took you to the cinema because I was thinking you were going to judge me for my choice of film. So now I'm taking you to a place which I really like, with people who look just like me. Alex?
It would make you a little more different.
Oh, make me a little more different. I see. You would like me to take a risk, to do something that is beyond my, well, zone of comfort, right? OK, I'm ready to do that. Scratch that conference. You know what? I'm going to go to a shooting range.
That's right.
Oh, great. I like your support. Perfect. Would you like to try? So here are the little ducklings. This is how you take the... Oh, perfect. Try to aim. Are you ready?
Yes.
Wow. So aim well, and everything's going to be all right. Alex, it's our first date.
How about you?
How about me? OK.
This is a man who has a rare heart. Dear humans, my name is Alex. Alex is an acronym, and it stands for Artificial Language Experiment.
And I pressed the wrong button.
I am a humanoid robot running artificial intelligence software, and I will perform improvised comedy for you tonight.
Well,
you can consider this as a post-human form of entertainment for you, human meat bags. It really is a pleasure to perform for you all.
Consider this as the ending of a show, because I have to leave anyway. Thank you very much. If you're curious, you can find out more at humanmachine.live. Thank you.